For the next 24 hours, not much change in temperature. A slight atmospheric disturbance of undetermined origin is reported over Nova Scotia, causing a low pressure area to move down rather rapidly over the northeastern states, bringing a forecast of rain accompanied by winds of light gale force. Maximum temperature 66, minimum 48. This weather report comes to you from the Government Weather Bureau. We now take you to the Meridian Room in the Hotel Park Plaza in downtown New York, where you will be entertained by the music of Roman Rax and his orchestra.
Good evening from the Meridian Room in the Park Plaza in New York City. We bring you the music of Raymond Rax and his orchestra. With a touch of the Spanish, Raymond Rax leads off with La Compasita.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News. At 20 minutes before 8 Central Time, Professor Farrell of the Mount Jennings Observatory, Chicago, Illinois, reports observing several explosions of incandescent gas occurring at regular intervals on the planet Mars. The spectroscope indicates the gas to be hydrogen and moving towards the Earth with enormous velocity. Professor Pearson of Observatory at Princeton confirms Farrell's observations and describes the phenomenon as, quote, like a jet of blue flame shot from a gun, unquote. We now return to you, find music of Roman Rax playing for you in the Meridian Room of the Park Plaza Hotel situated in downtown New York.
Now a melody that never loses favour, the ever-popular classical Stardust, a new and unearthed talent by Raymond Rax and his orchestra.
Why'd you go and make me regret everything? I never wanted this to end. Now I've messed up without thinking. Things don't always come out like you want them to. Push away all that you hate, but it's the worst thing you can do.
Ladies and gentlemen, following on the news given in our bulletin a moment ago, the Government Meteorological Bureau has requested the large observatories of the country to keep an astronomical watch on any further disturbances occurring on the planet Mars. Due to the unusual nature of this occurrence, we have arranged an interview with noted astronomer Professor Pearson, who will give us her views on the event in a few moments. We will take you to the Princeton Observatory at Princeton, New Jersey. We return you until then to the music of Roman Rax and his orchestra.
Sunsets make me forget 5 years, no fear. I shoot in a Cadillac. I don't think this can become a better day. I don't wanna wait forever, trying to let it slip and go. I know you deserve way better. Let the voicemail let me know. She just wants to dance the night away.
We are now ready to take you to Princeton Observatory at Princeton, where Carl Phillips will interview Professor Rachel Pearson, a famous astronomer. We take you now to Princeton, New Jersey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Phillips, speaking to you from the observatory at Princeton. I'm standing in a large semicircular room, pitch black, except for an oblong split in the ceiling. Through this opening, I can see a sprinkling of stars that cast a kind of frosty glow over the intricate mechanism of the huge telescope. The ticking sound you hear is the vibration of the clockwork. Professor Pearson stands directly above me on a small platform, peering through a giant lens. I ask you to be patient, ladies and gentlemen, during any delay that may arise during interviews. Besides her ceaseless watch of the heavens, Professor Pearson may be interrupted by telephone or other communications. During this period, she is in constant touch with the astronomical centres of the world. Professor, may I begin our questions?
At any time, Mr. Phillips.
Professor, would you please tell our radio audience exactly what you see as you observe the planet Mars with your telescope?
Nothing unusual at the moment, Mr. Phillips. A red disc swimming in a blue sea, transverse stripes across the disc. Quite distinct now because Mars happens to be the point nearest the Earth, in opposition, as we call it.
In your opinion, what do these transverse stripes signify, Professor Pearson?
Not canals, I can assure you. Mr. Phillips, although that's the popular conjecture of those who imagine Mars to be inhabited, from a scientific viewpoint, the stripes are merely the result of atmospheric conditions peculiar to the planet.
Then you're quite convinced, as a scientist, that living intelligence as we know it does not exist on Mars?
I'd say the chances are against it are 1,000 to 1.
And yet, how do you account for those gas eruptions occurring on the surface of the planet at regular intervals?
Mr. Phillips, I cannot account for it.
By the way, Professor, for the benefit of our listeners, how far is Mars from the Earth?
Approximately 14 million miles.
Well, that seems a safe enough distance.
Thank you.
Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Someone's just handed Professor Pearson a message. While she reads it, let me remind you that we are speaking to you from the observatory in Princeton, New Jersey, where we interview the world-famous astronomer, Professor Pearson. One moment, please. Professor Pearson has passed me a message which he's just received. Professor, may I read the message to the listening audience?
Certainly, Mr. Phillips.
Ladies and gentlemen, I shall read you a wire address to Professor Pearson from Dr. Gray of the National History Museum, New York, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Seismograph registered shock of almost earthquake intensity occurring within a radius of 20 miles of Princeton. Please investigate. Signed, Lloyd Gray, Chief of Astronomical Division. Professor Pearson, could this occurrence possibly have something to do with the disturbances observed on planet Mars?
Hardly, Mr. Phillips. This is probably a meteorite of unusual size, and its arrival at this particular time is merely a coincidence. However, we shall conduct a search as soon as daylight permits.
Thank you, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 10 minutes, we've been speaking to you from the observatory of Princeton, bringing you a special interview with Professor Pearson, noted astronomer. This is Carl Phillips speaking. We return to you now to our New York studio.